Obviously, I think that she's seen an opportunity. She's now made her government's position very clear. There was a lot of skepticism as to whether, in fact, after the referendum, that she would have proceeded. So she made the announcement that she was going to proceed. She's actually now triggered, I think it's Article 50 or Section 50 at the EU to indicate that England is going to proceed with extracting itself from the EU. And I think maybe having an elections right now gives a very clear mandate to her, a government, which creates stability. So already this morning that we saw that the pound strengthened. Mind you, from 125 to 126, but at least it's moving in the right direction. I mean, for St. Lucia to be more competitive in the UK market, we need to see a pound of around 150 to 160. That will drive not only arrivals into St. Lucia, but also in terms of driving our real estate market. So anything that England can do to strengthen people's confidence in the UK is a very good thing. And I think having elections at this point, where she only has a very minor majority in the House, will certainly hopefully give her the leeway to be able to push forward more aggressively in what she's attempting to do.
Budget preparations. How are we on that? Is it over?
The budget has been completed. I believe it's gone to the printery. They're working on all the speeches. The budget will be in two parts. So the first part will be the expenditure, which will be in the latter part of April. And then there will be the second debate, which will be in the second week of May. The second debate will be more policy, and the first debate will be more on expenditure. I'm hoping that the next time that we have the budget, that we can assimilate those two budget processes, but it would require the support and the collaboration of the opposition. I would also want to make sure that the opposition was not disadvantaged by not having information. So when we looked at trying to do that this year, given the fact that we can only get the budget information out the Friday before the throne speech, we felt it was inadequate. I did have some discussions with the leader of the opposition, and I want to thank him for taking my call. I want to thank him for the input that he made in the process, and I think that we've collectively have agreed, let's continue this process this year, and that we will engage them in discussions very early for the next budget process to see how we can get back to having one budget period.
What figure are we looking at?
We'll have to wait. We don't have long to wait. But I keep on saying a number. I would say to you it's pretty close to that number.
Speaking of budget, I'm not sure if you heard the president of the CSA last week speaking to the rumor that the public servants there may be a salary cut or maybe a salary freeze or some sort as raised to this. Can you tell us anything about it?
I thought her answer was very, very apropos. Is that she's not heard anything, she's not seen anything, and the reason why she's heard nothing or seen nothing is because there is nothing. I've repeatedly said that it's the intention of my government to help improve the productivity of the civil service, and that if there is going to be any downsizing of the civil service, it's going to come through attrition. So the first part is to create a process change. So that's what we call the re-engineering of the civil service, with the idea of maybe being able to get people to have higher salaries but less people, but it's going to be done through attrition. There is absolutely no proposal on the table that I know of, and I'm the Minister of Finance, to any pay cuts. It's not part of the proposal, has never been even considered to be part of the proposal. We have continuously talked about how can we strengthen the civil service, how can we make more resources available to them, and we've lamented the fact that government's budget has been depleted severely because monies that should be going to fixing roads, fixing the schools, and even I talked about the training of the civil servants have been cut, and no policy adjustments have been made to address this matter. So the problem that continuously happened is that the level of expenditures, which is primarily being driven by the level of debt. So when you look at from 2011 all the way until 2016, the fastest growing expenditure item was debt financing. That's what we've got to be able to solve. The other thing I've said is that the economy is not big enough to be able to cover the expenses that we have. So healthcare we're underfinanced, education we're underfinanced, policing we're underfinanced, infrastructure we're underfinanced. If we continue to increase taxes because we believe that we're entitled to be able to make those expenditures, we think that that is going to come at the expense of investment. So the more taxes you put on, the more it discourages people from investing in your country. And that's why when I hear people say, and they're right, how can Chastanet be saying that the country is broke, but at the same time he's lowering taxes? Because the goal of our government, we've said it, is to double the GDP. So we must make St. Lucia more attractive to be able to invest. And that investment is not just foreign direct investment, it's regional investment and it is local investment. So how do you encourage people to invest? They must have confidence that when they put the money in, that there's an opportunity for them to see a return on that investment. So that's why we're trying to put more money in people's pockets, that people have the consumption power to be able to buy homes, to go to the groceries, and that's how investors see that there's a return on their investment. So the new piece of legislation that we passed that encourages foreign companies to be able to have their headquarters in St. Lucia is to bring more people here to